Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please press the subscribe button and notifications so you don't miss my videos. Forgive the noise in the background. Put some light on the subject here. I am working on the Vibe Tribe Squirrel W.I.P. I did something a little bit different. I altered it a bit because I put some sparklers in it. You can, I don't know if it'll show up or not. Anyway, I would tell you a little bit about funny stories from my childhood. My parents were divorced. I don't remember any time with my bio father. My mother had met and married a man who took us on. That was Dad. I remember one time we were at some friend's house, and him and my mom had one child together. And the guy asked him who these kids were. Of course, he pointed out all of us kids, which were Susan, Tim, Brian, all four of us. And the guy says, well, I'm not talking about your stepchildren. I swear, and I heard it because I was kind of like near him, beside him, and he just about turned red, and he says, we don't use the term stepchildren in our household. These are all my kids. And he wasn't a good disciplinarian. I mean, if you wanted something, it was best to go ask Dad. Then Mom went more out to get it. This is not an argument against spanking or pro or con. But we did get spanked. I thank my parents for that, but he was not good at it. I mean, if he went to spank you, the minute you cried, he would stop. So it's like he'd take the belt and he'd barely swat you on the butt and you start crying, he would just stop. And a lot of times he just couldn't deal doing it. And I mean, more than once, he'd come in the room, because me and my sister shared a room, and he says, now girls, I'm not going to give you a spanking, but your mom wants you to have a spanking, so I'm going to take this belt, and I'm going to hit the bed with it. And when I do, you cry. So he'd be spanking that bed, and we'd be doing the biggest fake cry you ever did see. Now, I grew up in a very upper middle class family due to the fact that both my mother and him worked. And the union would have these picnics. And this is San Jose, the place does not exist anymore. Frontier Village. Happy Hollow. Go there a lot. And they bought some property in West Point, California. And we would go up there camping. They turned us kids loose up in that forest. How we never got lost, I don't know. But me and my brother were walking along. We found this go-kart that like had wheels type thing, like discarded. Well, we dragged it out got on it. Now, mind you, this is up in the mountains. It's complete forest, so it's not like it was 65 miles. But we were going downhill, and we were going fast, and we would, and it wasn't a real super busy road, but we would see cars coming. We would just go around and pass them. You should have seen the looks of the people when we passed them. Well, I guess they decided they better come look for us, and they got in the car and come opposite way. And when they see us zoom, but we must have been going 25, 30 miles down that hill or whatever it was. I mean, we were going pretty fast. The shop looks. We used to go, we kids cried when they decided to sell it. But my mother had kidney problems, and I kind of feel sorry for her now when I think about it. This is it, cleaned our room, we had it spotless. He gave us each a quarter. A quarter of those days, you could get penny candies, and, you know, candy bar was 10 cents, and he was bragging to my mother when he visited her how clean our room was. We made him out to like she came home, checked our room, and it was a mess. They divorced when I was, 18? But I remember it'd been a couple of years since I had seen him after the divorce. And he came to live with my sister. I was over there. And I didn't know what to call this man. I mean, what do you call a man you call dad all your life? Oh. Excuse me. Married to your mother. So I told him, I says, I don't really know what to call you because I grew up calling you Dad. And he teared up and he says, I'm Dad. Now, he was a good man, but he was also an alcoholic. He wasn't one of these guys who drank like every day, got drunk every day. He would go months being sober. He would take a couple years, and then he would go on a drinking binge. I can tell you, I never saw the man drunk, because he didn't want us to see him drunk. So he'd get off work, go on one of his drinking binge. And then when he decided to sober up, he'd come home. When I was 18, my mother, I guess, couldn't take it anymore. She divorced him, despite our objections. When he came to live with us, he ended up losing his job. He worked at Bob Hensel. Bob Hensel tried to lock him on the property because he was living in his camper, and he tried locking him in so he could go get drunk and be on the job drunk. It didn't work. He just climbed the fence. Finally, Bob Hensel says, Dave, you know, we love you. And he says, I put up more from you than I would have any other employee. And at this point, he ended up fired him. And I didn't see him for quite a few years after that. Till he went to, I guess he was in a drunk tank or whatever. And he needed a place to go. My sister took him in. My grandmother gave him a car. but of course he could attain it. We lost contact when he got pneumonia. Bottom line, if he had been drink, I guess he got remarried. We've been contacted by phone, but we hadn't seen each other. And when I was divorced from my first husband, and I was telling him about it, he would have come down and whipped his butt. Because, my dad, he was a very short man. A very short man, okay? And he got a fight with this guy. He had to go to court over it. And this guy he got in a fight with was like over 6 foot. So here's this guy, he's 6 foot tall. Here's Dad, he's 5 foot, what was it, 4 or something like that. He was a very short man. The judge looked up. He says, "You mean to tell me that this little man right here kicked your butt?" He goes, "Yes, Your Honor." The judge laughed and kicked it out of court. But I was a C8, I was doing private duty, and I was working for this family care as a live-in caregiver, diabetic person, and I couldn't just leave. There'd been nobody to take care of my patient, but his sister called, and she says, "Well, what was my brother really kind of like to you?" I said, "That was Dad." She told me the condition he was in. I says, don't tell him to go to extremes. Just tell him to make it comfortable, pain-free, and let it go. So that's what we did. I says, tell him I couldn't get there, but I love him. And she called me later. She says, I don't know how much he understood, but I told him, and he smiled. The funny thing about this is, his drink was Jack Daniels, okay? That was his drink of choice. I was unable to go to his funeral, but the one who did the funeral, officiated, preacher, whatever, his name was Jack Daniels. It's okay to laugh because I thought it was funny. The obituary, she sent me the obituary, bless her heart. She not only included his biological children, but included my brothers and sisters and me. Which is really cool. It's kind of sad in a way, because Dad truly, it's like he cared more for us than he did his biological children. They didn't come into the picture too much later, because how he got took to alcohol is he was in a hospital over a year for broke back or something. They were giving him pain medication, which he got addicted to. His ex-wife, first wife, was never very faithful to him. I mean, not only did she see the guy, she'd never pick him up the house with him right down there and go off, and here he's running after her. But she felt really, really guilty. She ended up killing herself. Dad was in the hospital. They went to live with their grandmother. Now, he did try to get him back to have some kind of contact. She went louder. Red Cross even went over there trying to talk to him. It just what happened. So he couldn't get home. of them till they were pretty much of legal age. I remember riding down the car down to LA. That's when my older stepbrother, Larry, came in the picture. Shortly after that, Baby Zeta, even though they were, now I really never really accepted them as like brothers, sisters, because they came so late in our childhood. Another funny story from that, as a kid, I was kind of teased a lot. And I was going to a school near San Ysidro somewhere. And I can't even remember what the kids had said to me, but I threatened to run away from school. Well, they didn't believe me and dared me. I said, oh yeah, well. So, when the school bell rang, what could I do? I was bluffing, but they called my bluff. I had no choice. And I just walked right out. Even though the teacher called to me, I ignored her. The police were called. They were looking for me. Apparently it made the news at one point. I was not lost. I knew my way home. But the only way I knew my way home was the way the bus went. And I was about maybe 7, 8 when this happened. And there was the cop actually drove past me with his blown horn calling my name, and I stopped and I looked, but he kept going. And I wasn't too far from the school at that time. I had to cross the bridge. Now my mother swears up and down I hid from the police under the bridge. It did not happen. Some guy pulled over, offered me a ride, and he looked evil to me, and I wasn't gonna get into his car for the life of me. And I walked from bus stop to bus stop to bus stop. Now we're talking few miles here, okay? Because we lived in Chula Vista, it was all the way in San Ysidro, and I made a shortcut once I get near home through the field, and I come out the street and I see my dad's car. So I tried to turn around and go, but he saw me. Took me over to my grandma's house where my mom was. She first hugged me, and then she spanked my butt. And I couldn't figure out, well, if you're so happy to see me, why are you spanking my butt? I don't know how my sister survived childhood. We fought like you would not believe. I mean, a couple times a week. Susie would do some, or I would do some, we'd get in a fight. Sue would tell. Sue would never get in trouble. I would be the one getting spanked. So I wait till my mom wasn't around, and I'd beat her up again for getting me in trouble. She'd often run to the bathroom, lock herself in, because she knew I couldn't get in. But Tim was mad at her too. She was scared because he could pick the lock. My mother was very selfish about food. I remember sneaking out of bed at night to get food. And she'd buy a gallon of milk. That was supposed to be for like breakfast. Well, you got 4 kids, a gallon of milk. It's not gonna last very long. And I didn't bother, because we never got hot breakfast. Dad did, Mom did, but she cooked it for them, but not for us. And I didn't have a bowl of cereal, so I went to get a glass of milk, and my brother says, "You can't do this for breakfast." I says, "Well, I didn't have my cereal, so I can have this." We started arguing. I said, "Well, if you want this milk, you can have it." And I tossed it all over him. When I was 13, we lived in a house, and behind us was a dry riverbed. And there was this long rope connected to a tire. Well, I was kind of walking behind it when one of the kids who was waiting for me to pass him, somebody pushed him. Long story short, they knocked me down. I just went home. And this is my brother's fault. He goes, "Shoot him, shoot him." My brother had a BB gun. He gets his BB gun, "Shoot him, shoot him, shoot him." I can't do that. "No, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him." So I took the BB gun, I popped my head over the fence, and I figured, well, I'll just shoot, and I won't hit him, but I'll scare him. I popped off, and I was not even aiming. I mean, I literally just put over, pow, pow. I got him once in the head, once in the chest. How I didn't go to jail as a juvie, I don't know, but I didn't. The cops came. The guy who did it to me was out there, and the cops tell me I had to apologize. He says, "I'm not apologizing. He knocked me down. He did this. I was just a fit. I apologize." I sat there for 20 minutes arguing with this cop. I didn't care. He could have took me to juvie home. I was not going to apologize. And I says, "Why should I apologize? He's the one that should apologize." The cop turned to him, so the guy apologized to me. I didn't exactly apologize. I says, "Well, since I have to tell you I'm sorry, I'll tell you I'm sorry even though I'm not." And they took the gun, and that was the end of it. Total the end of it. We were raised, and I raised my kids the same way. You don't hit somebody, I don't care how bad you are. You don't hit them. This lighting's terrible. But if they hit you, lay them out. That's what I told my kids. One day I tell you what happened to my kid with the biracial student. Somebody did to it, thought my son was a coward, but not today. Yeah, I will. When my son was in high school, or junior high rather, he was, my sons are biracial, and he's the only black kid in the class, and they were in the gym. A boy came up, called my son the N-word. My son did what I told him, because that's just racism. There's people who are insecure, feel bad about themselves, so they knock other people down to race, religion, whatever. And he says, "Well, I'm not going to fight you." My son attempted to walk away. The boy hit him. That's when my son turned around and laid him out. Now, nothing would have been said had the school said, "Okay, we're going to suspend both boys from fighting," but they only wanted to expel the little white boy. I mean, let the white boy stay in school while they expelled my son. Well, that wasn't flayed. For one thing, they had witnesses to that they stated what had occurred. Bottom line, we threatened to go to the superintendent and file lawsuits. They backed off. High school wasn't bad because Principal made it known to the students he wouldn't tolerate any statements done. They would be expelled. But let's get back to my childhood. Because really I was going to save that for something I got coming up around Easter time, so look forward to that. I loved horses. Now my family would spend all kinds of money on my brother with his motorcycles and cross racing. They pretty much, my mother did more for him than she did for her girls. There was a lot of favoritism in our home. Strange enough, I was never jealous of my brother. But we had some friends who had a horse. Now they lived right on a highway, busy highway. I get on this damn horse. Oops, excuse my language. They didn't tell me anything about the horse, okay? They didn't. Well, I went to reach to get the reins and I squeezed. Well, the horse had been trained, you squeeze, that means run. The horse runs. I'm on the horse. I ain't got the reins, I'm on a runaway horse. It turns its head straight for the highway. In my kid's voice, I'm thinking, oh my God, the horse is gonna get hit by a car. And I gave no thought to myself getting hurt. My only concern was this horse was gonna get hurt. But the horse turned away from the highway to in front of the house. And at that point, I kind of got collected. I reached down, I finally get the reins in my hand, I pull them back, and I'm going, whoa boy, whoa. The horse stops. Now, it comes to find out this horse would not stop unless you was talking to it. My mother freaked. Now, I am a bird person. I've owned birds. I don't have any presently, I can't have them where I live. But I've owned birds since I was 13 years old, and I am 63 now. You want to know about parakeets? You want to know their history and how they came to the United States? I'm the person, you know, they come from Australia, and in Australia, their natural color is green. All these blues, all these different color parakeets you see are actually a mutation, okay? How you get that mutation, if you breed a green bird to a blue bird, the babies are going to be green. You take the baby, you breed to blue bird, you're going to get half green, half blue. You take that one, blue, you breed it to another blue, you're going to get it all blue. That's the genetics of that. A Dr. Gould, Gould, way back when he had whatever, went to Australia. He brought a pair to England. At that time, they weren't abundant, and they were like $500-600 a piece. Now, parakeets are fragile birds, and as far as I'm concerned, they're there for the expert bird owner. They're not for the amateur bird person. So if you are thinking of getting a bird, you never had one, do not get a parakeet. If you never had a bird, because they're not very hardy birds, they can get sick real easy. They can't take drafts of any kind. They don't get colds like humans do, birds don't. They can't catch it from you, but the draft could give them respiratory, well, it amounts to a cold. That's what I would call it. And it can kill them. Cats and birds don't mix. The cat saliva is toxic to the bird. And I remember when I went to live with my father, our cat got hold of this wild bird, and she says, aren't you going to rescue it? I says, it's too late. She says, why? I says, even if it survives and it's dead, they'll die within minutes. It's like poison. They can't have avocado. It's toxic. It would kill them. Dairy products, no, it won't kill them, but they can't really digest it. But all parrots need fruit, vegetables in their diet. The seed you buy in the store is not sufficient to give them the nutrition they need. But my mother, I wanted a parakeet really, really bad, and she bought this parakeet, and they could be noisy birds. And she was keeping it at Sheila's, who was my former nanny girl when I was a kid. And she couldn't deal with the noise, so I got it early. And I had to support, I babysitted, and I had to buy all the food. Now, it was a baby. This is the only time my mother ever allowed me to, no, that was a different, I'm sorry. I had that bird. It was another, get mixed up here. I had bought a bird, parakeet, from Woolworths. Bought it as a baby, and as it grew, the band got tight around its foot. It ended up with this butt, and it was hurt, and I was saving my babysitting money, because I babysitted, and my mother finally said, how much money you got? I told her. She said, call the vet. The vet wanted $40 just to look at the bird. My mom says, make that appointment. We take the bird there, and I was told that it was the two things. The bird had cancer, which case the bird should be put down, but he thought the band was too tight, that he did not have the stuff to cut it with, and it took him 2 weeks, and he told us that because the parakeet's so fragile, even at the right amount of anesthetic, it'd be iffy if the bird would even survive the anesthetic. I didn't want him suffering. I spent much training in taming this bird, because there ain't a bird I can't tame. And I had to have it put down. Well, my mother drove me to Woolworths, where I got it. I told the manager, I said, I bought this bird in December. I don't have the receipt. We just had to pay $40 for a vet to put down the bird because of this, and I told him what had happened. Now, he was willing to give me another bird, okay? That wasn't a problem. It was a sales lady. She gets to where they had the birds. She's trying to argue with me. Well, you haven't got it, and it's been 7 months. I said, I don't care. You go back to the breeder and get the money back. Because the breeder put the band, too small a band on the bird, and the bird was suffering. They had to have it put down. You are gonna give me a bird. I cost that woman up.